Hey, what's going on, guys? Good morning. I hope you guys are doing well here on this Saturday morning. And of course, it's another edition of the Hotspur Watchalong as we are in week two of the Premier League. And of course, our Tottenham Hotspur travel up north to the Etihad to take on Manchester City in what I would consider one of the bigger tests of the early portion of this schedule. Before we get into everything, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button because we are on a race to 1,000 subs. And the quicker that we can do the quicker we can get there, the quicker that we can do some really cool stuff with this channel. All right, so now that's out of the way, let's get into it because, of course, as I mentioned just a second ago, this is an absolute massive test. Last week, Spurs come off a 3-0 drumming over Burnley at home. And, of course, Manchester City away at the Molineux essentially put Wolves out of their misery early. And so now it sets up a showdown in which I actually feel like this is going to be the litmus test. We're going to know exactly what this Spurs team is going to be made of against these upper echelon teams in the Premier League. And, of course, today it starts at the Etihad. The issue with this one is not necessarily what Manchester City is going to try to do on their attack. It's going to be what Spurs are going to be able to do to potentially stop the momentum of what Manchester City is going to throw at them. So let's go ahead and get into the lineups for this one. As the Tottenham Hotspur will start off at a 4-2-3-1. A little surprising considering that I thought most probably would assume that it was going to be in a 3-5-2. I certainly thought that as well too, just considering the way that Thomas Frank likes to play, high pressing, counterattacking. I thought it was going to be a little bit more conducive to take advantage of Manchester City's back three. But that being said, it's a 4-2-3-1. And for me, the two players that I'm looking forward the most is going to be João Palhinha and also Rodrigo Betancourt, because if you look at the way that Manchester City likes to play, they like the quick break on the counter. They like to move centrally, right? And for me, those two are going to play such a huge pivotal role today because, again, when you look at Omar Mamouche and you look at Tijani Reinders, two high tens that are essentially the engine behind that quick strike counter, especially playing centrally, it's going to be up to those two to try to force things to the wings. I would rather deal with Ryan Cherokee and deal with Oscar Bob than dealing with those two a little high centrally. So just saying, those two for me are going to be the players to watch with Spurs. But that being said, when you look at the way that the setup, it's set up for the high press, and that's exactly what is going to create turnovers in the midfield. It's going to take or even higher up the pitch. And this is going to be as far as I'm concerned, especially with Mohamed Kudus and Richarlison stepping up to take up space, put a little pressure on the ball carrier to try to create those turnovers high up the pitch so Tottenham can actually get into their counterattack and try to use that speed as a quick strike. So I think this is going to be quite an interesting chess match today. But that being said, it's like where the goal is going to be coming from. I would probably assume that Manchester City has Mohamed Kudus circled on this lineup card, especially of what he did last week. Let's be real, man. Let's be real. I don't necessarily think that's going to happen today against Manchester City. I would probably assume that they're probably going to try to overload that right-hand side and try to take, Mohamed Kudus off that ball. So it's going to be very imperative for a guy like Pedro Porro, who's going to be pushing up the pitch to try to play balls into that box because, we already probably assume that Brendan Johnson's probably going to try to float off that left-hand side a little bit more centrally, to that far post. So that means it's either going to be Mohamed Kudus or Pedro Porro trying to play balls from that right-hand side. But that being said, also on the left side with Jed Spence bombing up that left-hand side, is he going to be heavily involved in this attack as well too? And of course, centrally with Pap Sarr, who, as far as I'm concerned, is going to get one of the two goals for Tottenham today. Quickly, we have Dan Davenport in the chat. What's up? What's going on, my friend? I hope you're doing well. Quick question: who do you think wins today? And what's the score line for Manchester City today? It looks like James Trafford is their number one, and that's kind of a bold statement considering that they still have Henderson. But that being said, he's going to be in net for them. There's going to be a back four with Lewis, Stones, Diaz, and looks like it's going to be at Nori. You're going to have a midfield three of Nico, Tijani Reinders, and Omar Mamouche. Oscar, Bob, and Cherokee are going to be on the wings for them. And, of course, Erling Haaland is going to be centrally. Again, man, an unbelievable, attacking, I guess you can say, six. But that being said, man, it's going to be quite worrisome because what they like to do is apply pressure. And of course, they do it absolutely very well. It's designed to do exactly what we're going to try to do in creating turnovers. Because if the question is who's going to be better at it? Is it going to be Spurs or is it going to be Manchester City? Because they absolutely have the firepower. So it's essential for us to take away the central part of the pitch and keep them on the wings. If we can slow them down a little centrally and make them build up, it's actually going to be a little bit better for us because we're going to actually have the time to close out space. So a guy like Erling Haaland is not necessarily going to have free shots at the net. So hopefully that is the game plan today. And I actually think that, I think we're going to be in a good position. The question is who's going to start fast. I think it'd probably be imperative that Spurs start off as quick as they possibly can, try to get that early goal, build a little momentum. But that being said, I think we all are in agreement that this is probably going to be a situation where Manchester City is probably going to be holding a good portion of the possession today. And I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, depending on how we play. Dan Davenport in the chat, he said a draw would be a good result for us. I would agree. But that being said, I guess the question for everybody out there is we are getting set for this match to kick off. The question that I have for you is, can Spurs actually get 3 points from this one? We seem to be that bogey team with Manchester City. We've had very good results against them away at the Etihad, even at home as well too at N17. Last year, of course, it was the coming off the FIFA break. We came back and then we absolutely dummied them 4-0. That being said, that was a bad Manchester City team last season, and of course, James Maddison was able to take advantage of that. Last year, I think he had 2 goals in that match last year at the Etihad. But that being said, we always seem to come good against Manchester City. So I guess it's a good question out there. Is this an opportunity for Spurs? Can they actually take the 3 points, or is this more of a draw? Considering what we saw with Manchester City last week against Wolves at the Molineux. Me personally, I look at it in a vacuum, the same way I look at Spurs versus Burnley. We have to take a step back. Yes, though, that was a very good result to open up the season, but it was against Burnley, all right? A team that I actually have going down. Same with Wolves. I actually think Wolves might be going down as well too. And so I have to take a step back and look at the opposition and wonder, whether or not they're going to be able to do the exact same thing against a defense that is actually better. And that is, that knows how to clog space. And especially when you consider that maybe Vicario is a little bit shaky, right? So to be able to, to kind of clear the space a little bit and allow him to actually have good looks at ball. So, he's not deflected or coming from bad angles. So we'll see, man. We'll see. But that being said, as we are getting closer to kickoff today, who do you think is going to be the player? Let me rephrase that. Who is the player that you guys are looking at today? Is this going to be a situation where Richie is going to come good, coming off a brace against Burnley? That's that's going to be an interesting one to look at because again, I have to look at it, without emotion here, and I have to ask myself, was that something that we could look forward to, or was that just him taking advantage of what I consider as a bad Burnley back line? Maybe a little bit of both. I don't know. But that being said, when your manager tells the world that you are his number one, I would probably assume that is going to give Richarlison a tremendous amount of confidence. And I think at this stage, I would probably assume that Richie kind of gives this attack a little bit more than Dominic Solanke. And it has nothing to do with Dominic Solanke. I just think with how we set up in the attacking three, I just think he's a better option at this point. I think he's playing with a little bit more confidence. And, of course, Solanke's still working back from that ankle injury. So it is what it is. But I don't know, man. I'm looking forward to this one. I'm a little nervous. I got to be honest with you. I'm a little nervous because it is Manchester City, but I also have to take a step back and recognize that, we actually seem to come good against City, whether we're at home or on the road. So for me, knowing that, it's knowing that it gives me somewhat of a little bit more confidence. But again, the question is can we instill our defensive principles in this match and actually make this a little bit more difficult for Manchester City versus what Wolves were trying to do, which was absolutely nothing. So we'll find out. But that being said, man, this is a litmus test for Spurs. This is exactly what that is. It's a litmus test. We will know exactly what this team is going to look like against some of the best opposition in the Premier League. This is our first audition. Yes, we had good performances in the preseason against Arsenal. We look good against PSG. But that being said, now when the rubber hits the road in the Premier League, can we actually take advantage of this one? We shall see. I like our chances, but I'm also, I don't know, it's a little nervous, right? But that being said, if we actually come out today on the front foot, take advantage of the opportunities that are giving us, put a couple past their keeper, and just keep applying pressure at the right moments. I think this thing is going to work out well for Spurs. The question is, can they do it over a full 90? The last time we actually saw them against PSG, it was for about 85 minutes, and as soon as we took off certain players off the pitch, all of a sudden we conceded 2 goals. So that in itself is also a little worrying. But we're about 2.5 minutes until kick as the players are coming on the pitch. I'm curious to know what you guys feel is going to be the scoreline today. So leave your predictions in the chat as we will get to it. And let me know who is your goal scorers for today as well too. What is your score prediction and who scores goals? Leave that in the chat. Also remember to make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons because we are in a race to 1,000 subs. And obviously that would be well appreciated. So as we are getting set and it looks like the pageantry is on the pitch, I guess the question that I have for you is as we pivot, as we are getting closer to kickoff, is what kind of impact is Brendan Johnson going to have today? I know that Brendan takes a lot of stick, but that being said, you have to admit that Brendan Johnson always seems to be in the right position to score goals. Now, that being said, he doesn't offer anything else besides that. It's not like he's a good 1v1 winger. But that being said, man, in a game like this, would it surprise anyone if he quietly found himself in a position to actually get on the score sheet? And it seems like these are the type of matches where, yes, that actually could be. Whether or not they're going to be so hyper focused on trying to keep Mohamed Kudus off the ball that Brendan Johnson finds himself in an advantageous position to either get a header to put one past City's defense. Me personally, I think the answer is yes. But that being said, it's going to be interesting because they're going to have to find alternate ways to score. They're going to have to throw different looks at City on the counterattack or even on the buildup. Right? They just cannot be so one-dimensional as they're going to continue to try to play it into Mohamed Kudus because eventually, Manchester City is going to take away that portion of the pitch. Right? So they're going to have to at least try to throw Manchester City different angles today. They're going to have to mix it up. And so the question is whether or not Brendan Johnson is going to be able to get involved. So we'll see. Hopefully the answer is yes. So let's go ahead to the chat. And it says Dan Davenport says he never criticizes Brendan Johnson. Right. Here's the thing, right? I know a lot of fans don't like Brendan Johnson because, again, he's not a good 1v1 ball carrier. Not exactly all the greatest, trying to play into the box, but what he does do is he quietly scores goals. He quietly finds himself in position to score goals. And last year, the proof was in the pudding. I think he was our leading goal scorer last year, and I think that was for a reason. And so from that standpoint, he does have value. That's the reason why he's on the pitch. That's why he continues to be on the pitch. Let's see. There are rumors that Big Ange could be the next coach for Forest if Marinakis sacks Nuno. Yeah, Nuno has been absolutely. Nuno has been speaking. Has not really been speaking great about Marinakis and the board. Would it be surprising if Nuno gets sacked this early? I guess it depends on results because that would be the deciding factor, right? Is if Wolves get off to a bad start, not Wolves. if Forest gets off to a bad start, they're going to use that as an excuse to get rid of Nuno, and that could open the door to Big Ange. I still think Big Ange actually can compete at the Premier League level. I don't think that he was given a fair shake with Spurs, especially in the transfer market. I don't think that this board gave him the appropriate funds or the right players in order to compete. So it would be interesting to see exactly what he would be given at Nottingham Forest, considering that Forest are in European play this year. I would love to see Ange back in the Premier League and to prove his doubters wrong. 100%. So we are getting very close, and it looks like both captains have met at midfield. Looks like the handshake is there, and it looks like we're almost ready for kick here from the Etihad, and it looks like Spurs are going to be going from right to left. And there's Papsar. There's my boy. He's one of my goal scorers today. And it looks like we're almost ready for this one. Again, let me leave your score predictions in the chat. Let me know who your goal scorers are. And there's the whistle, and then there's the kick as that ball's played back to Vicario, and he immediately plays this one up to the left-hand side. That ball is going to get over the head. It looks like Richarlison right there as that ball goes out, and Manchester City's quickly going to try to play this one in. And look at Spurs. Right away, it's Papsar trying to apply pressure as they're going to have to play this one down. That's headed forward. And automatically, here comes Manchester City in transition. A ball played forward. And it looks like Christian Romero's there to take that away. Spurs are going to try to play it up the right-hand side. Looks like there's Kudus. Heavy touch, and now here comes City. And City's going to reset here as they're going to try up the left-hand side. And here's Marmouche. And he's got to play this one back. And now they're going to try the right-hand side. It looks like it's Stones. And I love to see this right here. And it looks like Spurs are pressuring the ball. Now they're up. It's Oscar Bob who tries to play it in. That's a good deflection right there. It looks like it was Reinders. Now Spurs are holding possession deep, and there's a whistle. And it looks like Brennan Johnson hits the turf here. Spurs will have the throw in. And Dan Davenport in the chat says 1-1, I think. Yeah, that would be a good shout. As Manchester City will hold possession here. As they are working from left to right. Here's Oscar Bob now. Look at Richarlison. Doing a good job here of pressuring the ball. Oh, good play right there. And now there's a turnover. It's Brennan Johnson. Good hustle by Johnson. Ooh, very good right there. As Spurs play it back to Vicario. Good pressure right there on the good pressure with the press right there, taking away the mid. See if Spurs can build up. So that's going to be played all the way to Romero, who's got to play it back to Vicario. There's Jedi. Oh, nice move by Jedi. Yeah, and there's a whistle. 100% there's a whistle right there. Good pressure, but also good touch right there by Jedi to play it in. That was a nice little move right there as Oscar Bob got essentially shook. As Spurs will restart here in their own end. Good intensity from both teams. And it's Spence. Oh, good move by Spence. And that ball is going to get played out. As Manchester City is doing a very good job of closing down the ball. That space was automatically gone. And Spence had nowhere to go with that. Come on, Brennan. Pressure the ball, bud. As Manchester City is trying to get out of their own end, there's a ball forward up the left-hand side. Here's Marmouche against Pedro Porro, 1v1. Now he's got to play it back. There's the turnover. That ball's going to get played forward. And it looks like it goes out off of Papsar. And City will hold possession here. So through the first 4 minutes, it looks like it's a nice little unique chess match here. As Spurs and City are doing a good job of closing down space and pressuring the ball. It's what you want to see. That's a bad touch right there, as Brennan Johnson will take possession away. As now Vicario try to play it forward, and that ball goes all the way back, and it's going to be Stones. Oh, that's a good pressure right there by Richarlison. There's a whistle. And that's going to be against Nico right there. How about Richarlison? That was absolutely beautiful. And Spurs will have a free kick here. And this is exactly what you want to see. That was the game plan, right? Forward pressure, making things uncomfortable and not giving City space to try to get into their attack. And so far, so good, and especially right there by Richarlison. And now Pedro Porro will have the free kick. As the hand goes up, here's Porro's in swinger. On the opposite side of the box, it's going to come down, headed forward. Ooh, and that's going to get cleared. As Spurs will get the possession. And now they're going to try to play it a little centrally. Oh, nice play. As Spurs will try to reset here. And it's Vicario. And it will be Polinia, who's going to try to play this forward. There's no runner right there. And so that ball will head to the keeper. And now Manchester City will have possession. Ooh. Look at Van de Ven. That was a nice little run right there. And it looks like City's stuck in their own end here. Oh, nice little turn. Oh, yeah, nice turnover. Picking the back pocket of Erling Haaland. And Richarlison ends up down on the turf at a retaliatory tackle right there by Haaland. He gets his back pocket picked, and all of a sudden Spurs now have an excellent free kick just on the outside of the box, off the left-hand side. As Haaland, nice little retaliatory tackle right there. As Christian Romero was the one that picked his back pocket, and now Spurs will have a nice little free kick right here. Can they cash in here? As we're approaching minute 8. It'll be Pedro Porro again standing over this one. Good high press by Spurs. Both Romero and Van de Ven pressing high. Romero picks the back pocket, draws the foul. And now it's going to be Pedro Porro. There's the kick. Ooh, that's going to hit the wall. But there's Porro! Ooh. as that goes just wide. As the first initial shot hits the wall, Porro grabs his own rebound and puts it on just a little wide. Just a little wide left. And you have to like what you're seeing here through the first 10 minutes, as Spurs have done a very, very, very good job of pressing the central area of the pitch, taking away passing lanes, being aggressive. So that ball is going to get played forward. Oh, boy. Ooh! Oh! And Omar Mamouche almost just scored right there. As Pedro Porro got turned around a little bit. As that touch was just a little too hard. Ooh. That was almost a goal right there for Manchester City, as Marmouche just shot it wide. Too heavy of a touch for Porro. As I was thinking that maybe Vicario would come out to try to get that one. Now Spurs will try to play this up. That's going to get out for a Manchester City throw-in. You're not going to be able to give Manchester City those type of mistakes. They know how to capitalize, and they almost did right there in the 10th minute. Omar Mamouche just pushed it wide past the right post. And here comes City. Nice takeaway right there. Wonderful play by Polina. Now that will get played back to Vicario, who immediately will try to play it center. And City will take possession. Ooh. Two very good chances back-to-back by both teams. And there's Richarlison, who pressures the keeper. It's Kudus. Kudus on the right-hand side. Plays one in, back post, and it sails. Good pressure again by Richarlison. That's the second time he's won the ball back up high. Excellent pressure right there. And Richarlison has had an excellent go in this one so far. And it looks like there's going to be a whistle right there. Again, the pressure is relentless. Both Van de Ven and Romero coming up, challenge the ball. It's actually quite impressive. And again, City is under pressure here. Look at Brendan Johnson, not giving City any space. That's a good pass down though. And it's Papsar. As that's a quick reset right here by City. And now they're going to move this down the right-hand side. Looks like it's Oscar Bob. And he's going to play it off to the left. Oh, nice play right there by Pedro Porro. Kind of stop it in its tracks. Here's Marmouche. Cuts around. Oh, look at Vicario. Nice play by Vicario. That ball gets out on the right-hand side. Oh, Pedro Porro kind of got beat around the corner right there, but it was Vicario closing down the angle. Here's City. And that ball is going to get played forward. It looks like it's going to go out for a goal kick right there. Good action here within the first 12, 13 minutes now. Both teams have had excellent opportunities on net. City has been trying to counter quick. Spurs have been up for it, though, defensively. And it's Romero. Here's Porro. Porro's going to play it up the right-hand side. Here's Kudus. And that ball's going to get deflected out left. And it's Jed Spence who's got room. Here's Bencor. And it's Romero. Spurs have had some room to set up their attack, but it's going to require quick passing. It's right there is a good example. Spence just held on to the ball. They closed down that space quick. Here's Van de Ven. It's Brennan Johnson. Now Van de Ven's going to have to play this one back to Vicario. Here's Romero. Nice good touch pass right there by Betancourt. Now he's going to get played on it. And yeah, he's going to have to relent to that one because that would have been offsides. And it'll be City now in possession. And it looks like there's a man down. It looks like it might be Cherokee. It looks like we'll have our first stoppage here as Cherokee. It looks like he's down on the pitch. So through the first 15 minutes, both teams have had ample opportunity to get forward. And it looks like Doku now is getting warmed up on the side here for City. As Cherokee's down on the pitch here. As we will look to see exactly what happened with Cherokee. But that being said, both teams have done an excellent job with their high press. I think Spurs have actually done a little bit better. Richarlison especially. He's closed down and actually won twice high up the pitch, one leading to a set piece. Spurs have just had a little bit better in that department. I think they've done themselves a lot of favors there. As there's the injury right there. Looks like the Cherokee. It looks like he might even rolled his ankle right there as he was trying to win the ball back from Kudus. It looked like he definitely rolled his ankle. So it looks like Pep Guardiola is going to have to go to his bench a little earlier than he had hoped. As it looks like Cherokee is up. Question is he going to be able to finish as he moves off the pitch? It does not look like Spurs are intimidated by the Etihad. Doesn't look like they're intimidated whatsoever. As there's the reset, and we are back to action here as Manchester City. We're now going to try to pull this one up the left-hand side. The Spurs are right there to kind of close down those central passing lanes. And it's going to be Stones. Again, good movement by Richarlison. They're going to try to play this one up the right-hand side. Here's Oscar Bob, 1v1 against Spence. There's nowhere to go. Now they're going to try the left-hand side. It's going to be Marmouche who shoots. That's a nice save right there by Vicario. Now the Spurs are going to try to counter. That ball's taken away. Oh, nice. That was absolutely brilliant right there. Defense right in front of the 18, and Spurs regain possession quickly and then push it away. And now City will try to operate again. And you've got to love the way that Spurs are pressing at this point. As they are making things a little uncomfortable for City as that ball's going to get played up the pitch. There's Jed Spence. But that ball comes down to Bob. Here comes City now on the break. Moving centrally. That ball's going to get deflected. The Spurs are trying to act quick here. It's Spence. Now it's Van de Ven who's going to have to play this forward. Ooh, there you go. And there's a whistle. As that ball's tried to get played forward right there to Kudus, but that was taken away. As we are approaching minute 20 now here in the first half. And it looks like Cherokee struggling a little bit. As City will have possession now. Spurs try to play their first one forward on the right-hand side, just a little too hard of a touch. And now that's a good ball down the left-hand side. And that ball goes out. And it'll be a Spurs throw-in off the right-hand touch line here. And it looks like Doku is warming up. As that ball gets thrown in. Taken away now. Here comes City. Trying to break quick. Good defense by Spurs. As Marmouche try to play one. That's just a little too far forward. Here's Jed Spence. And that'll get out for a goal kick. So we're in the 20th minute now. As I predicted, this is a little bit of a chess match here. Spurs did get forward a little bit in the first 10 minutes, but since they've struggled to kind of get past the midline here. And there goes Cherokee as he comes down on the pitch again. So I would probably assume this is going to be it. Actually, it's going to be Nathan Aki who's going to check in for Cherokee here. I'm not necessarily surprised so far, as we are about 21 minutes in. I'm absolutely not surprised to see that Manchester City kind of has held on to this position. Possession. No surprise at all. But that being said, Tottenham are going to have to do a little bit better with what they have, because it looked like they were. It looked like for a second there they were going to be able to systematically get forward. But for the last 10 minutes, it's pretty much been Manchester City possession-wise. But that being said, defensively they've held up quite well. And it looks like Cherokee's off. And it looks like Aki is on. As he tried to give it a go, but that's going to do it. So Pep Guardiola has to go to his bench early. Actually, that wasn't Cherokee. That was Atnori. That's actually even better. I do apologize. I thought it was Ryan Cherokee. No, it was Atnori. As play resumes, here's Jed Spence. That ball gets deflected. Right there is Richarlison, who's going to play this left. And it looks like it's going to be Brennan Johnson. Here's Brennan. Plays it forward. Oh, nice play in right there by Jed Spence, but a heavy touch right there by Brennan Johnson, and it gets out. Nice little movement up the left-hand side right there by Spurs. Nice movement by Brennan Johnson. It's just the touch was just a little too much as that ball gets out for a City goal kick. But good movement right there. And that's something that Spurs are going to have to be a little bit more consistent with. They've been trying to shoot it up the right-hand side. You know, credit to City's defense. They've kind of held Mohamed Kudus a little bit in check. They're going to have to throw City multiple looks today. And it looks like Van de Ven comes down with that ball. And now Spurs will try to build up. And it's Betancourt. There's nowhere to go as that ball popped back. Now it'll be Spence on the left-hand side. He's got room as they cross the midway line. Spence is going to try to play one up to the right-hand side, and he'll find Kudus. Just a little too far forward. Good option right there because Kudus was available as Spence played it just a little too far forward. And he was wide open on the right-hand side. Good Lord. Good thought right there. He had Brendan down the left-hand side, and he had Kudus wide open. Just a little too far forward. And now it'll be a City throw-in. As that ball's popped back. And that ball's played all the way back to Vicario, and Spurs will reset here. And it'll be Van de Ven. Here's Jed Spence, who's got room. He crosses the midline on the left-hand side. That ball's going to get played. It's Brennan Johnson. Here's Brennan. And that ball's going to take a deflection out. Come on, Brennan. It's almost like he gave up. As that ball's going to get played in. It's Van de Ven. As Polini plays it back to Romero. What can Spurs do? Romero's got to play it back to Vicario. Here's Vicario. He's going to try to shoot this one up to the right-hand side. It's going to be Kudus. Nice tap right there by Kudus back to Richarlison, but Richarlison tried to play it back as that ball gets all the way back to the keeper. And now Manchester City will have possession here. That ball goes down the right-hand side. And now they're going to shoot this to the left. And that ball was too far forward for Omar Mamouche as that gets out for a Spurs throw. And by the way, if that ball was on target, Mamouche had nobody in his vicinity right there. Oh, heartbreaker. Spurs will have to throw in here. No whistle. Oh, look at Richarlison, though. Wow. Well played. Here comes City now. Here's Marmouche. 1v1. Oh, tipped away. Richarlison. Good pressure, but that ball bounces back. It's going to be City. That ball goes to the right, trying to find Oscar Bob just behind him as that ball gets out. Spurs dodged a massive bullet right there. City was set up correctly. Had they completed that pass to Oscar Bob on the right, man, he was lonely over there. So that's two straight opportunities for City. One with Marmouche, and now one with Oscar Bob. Spurs dodged a bullet, man. Here's Jed Spence now, as he's going to try to throw this one in. It's Richarlison. As that ball gets out, it'll be a Spurs throw-in. So we'll try this one again. Spence will be the throw taker here. Off the left-hand touchline, he's going to go forward again. Finds Richarlison. As Brennan Johnson deflects. And now it's Holland. Holland racing. Ooh, good challenge right there. Oh, in the box, shoots! Good deflection. Good deflection by Vicario as that ball squeaked forward, and it was Marmouche. All alone, 1v1. So here comes City now. Trying to capitalize. They're in Spurs half. It looks like it's going to be... Oh, nice play right there by Pedro Porro. Trying to get that ball forward. For Richarlison, no whistle, as that dude was absolutely mugged. And now they're... Now they're going to call a whistle. Okay, awesome. Actually, that was actually that last little possession, man. That was actually a great play right there by Erling Haaland. But yeah, that ball squeaked through, and Marmoush put one right into the chest of Vicario. That was looking like it was going to be 1-0 right there for Manchester City. So Vicario playing incredibly well as we're now approaching the 30th minute here in the first half. Defensively, Spurs have done a very, very, very good job. That ball now is going to get played. It's Marmoush. That ball gets deflected. Held back in by City. And now Spurs will try to clear as it's 2v1. Comes down. It's Kudus. There's Kudus. That ball is going to get deflected. And here comes Vicario now. As Spurs will try to reset here. Here's Jed Spence. And he runs into trouble. Manchester City have done a very good job with their high press as well, too. And now Vicario is going to have to play this one long. And it's Kudus now. Ooh. Nice little chip right there by Betancourt. But yeah, how about Kudus though? That dude just a disruptor. Took that one against Reinders. Took that 1v1 against Reinders right there. That dude is such a dude. Kudus is such a stud. As that ball has to get played back quickly. And City now kind of pinned a little deep as that ball is going to carry him away, and now Spurs will hold possession. And it's Vicario. Here's Van de Ven. Now it's going to be Spence down the left-hand side. As Jed Spence now is going to try to play this to the right. It's Kudus. And it's Betancourt. Now it's Spence. And Spence was looking for Brendan Johnson, but that was quickly taken away. Here's Pedro Porro. And Porro has to play this one back. Spurs are trying to play these down the wing, and here's Brendan Johnson. That was a nice play by Stones as that ball is headed out. Spurs will have a throw in, but it's obvious that they're trying to play down the wings. Manchester City have done a very good job of shutting down the wing. Haven't really established the middle part of the park here. Spurs will try again here after the throw-in. And it's Porro. Here's Kudus, 1v1. As Romero is going to have to play this one back to Vicario. As Vicario will push it up the pitch, but nobody there was on the run. And now City will have possession. Good pressure on the ball. And that's what this team does really well, making the ball carrier a little uncomfortable. As there's a whistle right there on Van de Ven, who's coming up from a deep position to put pressure on the ball. And now Brendan Johnson's going to get a yellow card for touching the ball. Jesus. Unbelievable. So now Brendan Johnson's on the caution. Looks like they're going to get him for, delaying time there. Unbelievable. And it'll be City now. There's taken away Good deflection, and it's taken away by Jedi Spence. And now Vicario will push this one up. Headed forward. Right to Van de Ven, though. As that ball is going to be played. Back to Vicario. Oh, nice touch right there by Vicario to find Van de Ven. But again, Spurs are trapped. Here's Spence. There's that ball's taken away. Played centrally. And that ball gets out for a goal kick. So Spurs again dodged another bullet as they were trapped down in their own half. The Spence gets that ripped. And Reinders could not find an outlet, nor did he take a shot on net, which is kind of odd because I thought he probably would. But Spurs will restart here, and it's Porro. Porro is going to try to bomb this one up to the right-hand side, headed on forward. Here comes Richarlison now. Here comes Richie. He's got a man. It's Brennan! Oh, they got him offside. Oh, and as they're taking this one away, they're going to say it's offside as we watch. Oh, I don't know about that. It looks like Richie was onside. That was a beautiful play over. That should be a goal. Yeah, this one's going to VAR. Yeah, that was 100% a goal. The question was whether or not Richarlison was offsides. And it looked like from this angle he was 100% onside. And from this angle, not only was Richarlison onside, but Brennan Johnson was definitely onside. That was just bad defense by City. 100% Richarlison was onside right here. This is going to have to stand here. Yep, and that's going to go to the screen. And there it is. Spurs grab the 1-0 lead here in the 36th minute. Absolutely. And it's Brennan who gets the goal. Now Spurs in the 36th minute have taken a lead. 100% that was onside. 100% that was onside. And it was a great ball in by Richarlison. An even better finish right there by Brennan Johnson. And it looks like good old Brendan right there is kind of silencing the haters there. Again, he just finds himself in good positions. And we were talking about this at the beginning of the show. It's hard to kind of criticize Brendan, considering he always seems to find himself in good spots. Nonetheless, after VAR, Spurs take a 1-0 lead here. As Manchester City now will hold the ball in possession. And Spurs' hard work has paid off. Good counter-attacking goal right there. So after the VAR check, the goal will be allowed. As that ball gets out for a Spurs throw-in. 100%. That was the right call. To try to chalk off a goal for offsides, knowing for a fact that Richarlison was miles onside right there. Good counter-attacking goal right there by Spurs. And their hard work has paid off. It was just bad defense by City. Just to just allow that ball to ping backwards right there to Richarlison, who was in a good position to put a nice little cross in. Brennan Johnson with an even better finish, as that ball's going to be headed. And it's Betancourt who's going to try to play this one forward. Here comes Mohamed Kudus to try to put pressure on it. Here's Kudus. Ooh. And he almost beat Trafford. Here comes Spurs in the box. Oh, and Pedro Porro. Oh my God, that should have been a penalty. Here comes Oscar Bob. As that ball's taken away, it's Vicario. As Spurs are trying to counter quick here, and that ball gets played out. Woo. Unbelievable as Pedro Porro is down now, holding his ankle. It was 1v1 against Nathan Aki, and it looks like it was Reinders right there who actually stepped on Porro's foot. That should have been a free kick right outside the box, 100%. That was a blown call right there. As Mohamed Kudus also challenging Trafford right there. Unbelievable. How was that not whistled a free kick for Porro right there? Reinders literally just stepped on his foot. As Pedro Porro is down now, as the physios are out or looking at him. That was a bad no call right there. As play is stopped, we're in the 40th minute. Spurs lead 1-0 on a very, very good finish by Brendan Johnson. As Manchester City lost track of the ball as it got played forward, Richarlison had nothing but space and put a good ball in for Brendan Johnson. And of course it was Brendan Johnson. Of course it was. By the way, when are we actually going to throw respect on Johnson's name? He just seems to pop up and score. He just always finds a way to be in a position where he can put the ball on net. As we look at this goal again, just a good finish. Just a very good finish. And I actually think it was Kudus who popped that ball forward for Richarlison. Initially whistled as offsides. I'm glad VAR was able to put that goal back up on the board because that was a bad offside call. And it looks like play will resume. And so far, man, Spurs have done a very good job, man. Their hard work has paid off. And there's the throw in now. And that ball's taken away in the mid. Hapsar. And now we have a few whistles now. Oh boy. And that actually should have been a whistle right there too, as Trafford's leg literally was high right into Kudus' gut. But here comes City now. That ball is going to get popped away, and it's Jed Spence here. And I think that's going to be a goal kick. Unbelievable, man. I just don't understand how that wasn't a whistle against Reinders, against Porro. Clear foul. But anyway, Spurs lead 1-0. And it's Jed Spence here, who's going to try to play this centrally as that ball is going to get headed forward. Here comes City now trying to act quickly. And look at that. It's Richarlison who picks his back pocket. Here comes Richarlison up the left-hand side. Plays on to Brendan Johnson. Beg your pardon, Pap Sarr. Here's Sarr. Cuts in. Good defense right there. Look at Pap Sarr trying to win this ball back, and he does. It's Pap Sarr. Oh, nice. Nice possession by the Spurs. As that ball gets played out, it'll be a Spurs throw-in. Good hustle. It's exactly what you want to do to keep possession. Keep possession there. As that ball is going to be played back to Van de Ven. Out to Romero. So that ball is going to get played up and well over. And it's going to be Trafford. As we're approaching the 44th minute, Spurs lead 1-0. They've had an excellent first half here. Done a very good job pressing high, not giving City any space. Oh, nice, excellent right there. Excellent play right there. As Spurs will hold possession. Here's Van de Ven making a run. Van de Ven. Oh, wonderful play. Here's Spence. And now it's Romero. Here comes Porro now. Plays it forward. Here comes Kudus trying to break. Nice pass. That ball's going to get played in. The Spurs will regain possession high. Lays it off. Plays it forward. Ooh. Nice deflection by Aki. It gets out, and Spurs will have their first corner. As we're approaching the 45th minute now. This will be Spurs' first corner of the match. And I think they're, their third overall set piece. Can they cash in here? And it looks like Romero will be there centrally. It's going to be Kudus taking the corner here. Van de Ven's at the back post. And there's the whistle. So this one will start over again. Spurs have done an excellent job here in the first half. Have not allowed Manchester City to do what they want, which is to play quick through the middle of the park. They've done a very good job at taking that away, as that ball's going to get played in. Back post. And that's going to be headed away by Richarlison for a goal kick. There will be 7 minutes of stoppage time. Unbelievable. Yeah, but it makes sense, though, right? With the Atnori injury and, of course, the stoppage play with Pedro Porro. Oh, and that ball's taken away. It's Richarlison. Shoots. And that's a goal right there by Palhinha. As João Palhinha will score his first goal. And Spurs in stoppage time. João Palhinha. 2-0 Spurs. And it starts again with the press. Unbelievable. What an absolute turn of events here. As Spurs pressed the restart. And it was Pap Sarr. Richarlison had the touch, and then it was João Palhinha with the finish. And Spurs, unbelievable, have taken a 2-0 lead here at the Etihad. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And it starts with Pap Sarr. Unfreaking believable. Good finish right there by João Palhinha. That was deflected past Trafford right there. Unfreaking believable. Unbelievable play, turn of events right there. As Pap Sarr pressured the ball, created the turnover, and Palhinha finishes to put Spurs up 2-0 in the 48th minute. And now all of a sudden Manchester City finds itself down 2-0 as we are approaching the end of the first half. Unbelievable. Spurs have absolutely pressed their will against Manchester City for hitting turnovers high and getting these results, man. Unbelievable finish by Palhinha. Unreal. And now Pep Guardiola can't stand to watch. Spurs have absolutely silenced the Etihad. 2 goals in the first half. Just terrible mistakes by Manchester City. Especially trying to build out of the back as Spurs pressed it. Credit to Pap Sarr. He's the one that won that turnover. Oh, nice little play right there. Flick by Pedro Porro. Look at Porro trying to split 2 defenders. That ball, ooh. And there's a whistle. Here's City. Unbelievable turn of events now. As Spurs will go into the break with 2 goals. And City has no idea what hit him. Oh, and they're going to say a corner. Look at Jet Spence. As this will be a City corner. And it looks like it's going to be Omar Mamouche taking this one. That ball's going to get whipped in short. Headed away. Good defense right there by Spurs. We are in the 50th minute. Spurs leading 2. 2-0. They get a goal off the VAR reset. Goal by Brendan Johnson. Now they just got a goal from João Palhinha off the high press. And here comes City now. That's going to get played to the backside, headed forward. Oh, nice play right there by João Palhinha. As that ball is going to get played to the right-hand side. Here's Bob. They tried to play it into Reinders. Deflected. Here's Marmouche. Oh, nice. Good piece of defense right here as Marmouche tries to play one in. That's going to get headed away. They're trying to pressure the ball. It's Oscar Bob. Jed Spence. That ball's taken away. As now that'll be another corner for Manchester City as they're going to try to play this quick. That's going to get deflected. Ooh. Oh, as Holland put one over the bar. Ooh. That was City's first real good look at net. Spurs are lucky. Holland was unmarked, and he just puts one over the bar. Spurs get away with one right there. As we're in the 52nd minute now. As we have, looks like we have audio artisan. What's going on, my friend? Yeah, absolutely, man. And, the impressive thing about this one is the fact that Spurs have been able to essentially play their game. And they have done a very good job with it. So as we hit the half now, Spurs 2, City 0. Goals by Brendan Johnson. Goals by João Palhinha. And quite honestly, man, this has been an absolute thrill to watch from the standpoint of the pressing, man. It's been absolutely brilliant. So we're going to take a short break. We will come back with the halftime stats, and we also recap that first half because it's been absolutely brilliant. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Let me talk to you. A little reference there, but I'm going to stop messing about. I'm going to talk to you about private internet access, the best VPN in the land. Now, when you're online, you may not realize, but all of your data is there for the taking by anybody. With a VPN such as private internet access, your data is safe and secure, streamlined, and nobody else can get hold of it. That's why I use one anyway. VPN's very easy to use, private internet access. All you got to do is log on your phone, select where you want to be. So I want to be in America, and I click go, and there we are. You can also link up your devices to it from your phone if that is easier for you. It's available on a lot of platforms as well. As you can see, and you can use it for a very, very big range of things. So that's even better as well. You can use it, like I said, on all your devices, smartphone, tablets, gaming consoles, and stick it on your modem. And it's unlimited devices. One equals all. It's available all across the world, and it works perfectly. What they do is they mask your IP address, so pesky 3 o'clock kickoffs aren't an issue anymore, and they're independently audited, so there's no logs, 30 million customers, and 4.5-star Trustpilot rated excellent review. Private internet access. Get yours now.
Yes, and thank you to private internet access. It's a hell of a VPN. Head over to PIA.com and check out their deals right now. I believe there's a 40% off. Yeah, so definitely check them out. All right, so let's get into it, because this was an unbelievable first half for Spurs. And in a sense that they have done exactly what they have wanted to do to Manchester City. They have essentially taken away their strength, which is quick counterattacking, trying to play the ball centrally. That there's been absolutely none of that. They have done a good job of trying to keep City up on the wings, and of course, Jed Spence and Pedro Porro have played incredibly well. But it's the high press that has made Manchester City completely uncomfortable in this first half, and we saw that result. They have not necessarily been able to move the ball comfortably, and they have been put in situations where they have to make decisions which have led to turnovers. But it's been the counterattacking for Spurs that has been the absolute killer. That first goal was a prime example of it. As they played that ball forward quickly off a turnover, Kudus will pop it forward. And what was interesting is that was originally called offsides, but with the VAR check, sure enough, Richarlison was 100% onside. Not only was he onside, but he had space. Of course, played that over to Brennan Johnson, and of course, God damn it was Brennan Johnson who finds himself in an unbelievable position to put one on net, and of course he scores. But again, it was the high press. As this first half was coming to an end, on the restart on the goal kick, Pap Sarr pressures the ball, finds the turnover, and it was João Palhinha that puts that one in off a deflection, and all of a sudden Spurs have a 2-0 lead at the half. The only realistic chance that Manchester City has seen today is lay off that corner as Erling Haaland put one over the crossbar right there. But that being said, man, this has been a first half that has been all Spurs, and so far, man, so good. I have been absolutely impressed with their movement. I've been absolutely impressed with their high press. They have literally made Manchester City uncomfortable, and it shows. As we're watching some of these replays, I actually have to shout out Mohamed Kudus. That dude has been a thorn in Manchester City's side. He's had an unbelievable performance in this first half. What I've actually liked about this first counterattack is that they're actually giving Manchester City different looks. It's not just trying to force it up the right-hand side. They have been diligent on that left-hand side as well too, and I like their ability on both sides of the wing. And so I guess that begs the question of what this team is going to look like in the second half. I would probably assume it's going to be more of the same. The only difference between this match and I guess a match like versus PSG is whether or not this team is going to be able to keep this up past minute 85. But be that as it may, we're at the half right now, and Spurs lead 2-0. So let's go ahead and check the chat real quick, because my man Wayne Bonner is here. He says, "Goddamn, seriously impressed with how Frank House is playing. Love the steely side he's brought to this team 100%. I mean, he's made this team tough as nails. And again, when you look at just exactly the dynamic between these two teams, the first thing that comes to your mind is the fact that we've been absolutely compact and organized defensively. Like, our movement without the ball is one of the biggest reasons why Manchester City can't get comfortable in the attack. They're gonna, they're rushing some of their passing, and it's all because we're not conceding space. Yes, we're conceding the possession, but we're not conceding space, and it's because of that we're able to do what we want when it comes to the counterattack. And you're 100% right. This team is just I wouldn't say exceeding expectations, but they're playing up to the expectations of the talent in which we possess. And I just think this thing is, this thing has been absolutely brilliant, well played, perfectly designed here in the first half, 100%. Wayne goes on to say, I fancied a 2-1 Spurs win. Now I'm thinking we can keep a clean sheet. Let's hope. We're 45 minutes away from a clean sheet. And what I will say is that, it's going to require even more attention to detail in that second half, because you would expect Manchester City is going to make adjustments at the half. Now, whether or not that involves substitutions, that is yet to be decided. But that being said, as of right now, this back four, when I think all of us thought that it was going to be a back five, literally has created gridlock for Manchester City in the middle of the pitch. So again, we're gonna have to continue that attention to detail. Let's see. Audio says I can see a switch to the back three later in the second half to shut up shop. Yeah, like maybe late, and that would make a lot of sense. Bringing on a guy like Kevin Danso, like maybe in the 80th minute, that I can potentially see, right? But again, who's going to come off, and how is that going to look for Spurs as far as shape is concerned? Wayne Bonner says the whole team is playing superbly, 100%. Couldn't agree with you more. And again, I just look at how this team was set up and how the formula in which they wanted to play. Thomas Frank has hit everything superbly, without a doubt. Let's see. They need to sub their keeper. Yeah, but here's the thing, though, right? On the one hand, the Brennan Johnson goal, that was just a good finish, right? The Polina goal, that came off a deflection. I think that came off of Stones, if I'm correct, right? So, yes, maybe one of them could have been saved, but the second one, at least there's a built-in excuse for Trafford. That's all I'm going to say. Let's see. Wayne Bonner goes on. Thomas Frank and Kudus are their best transfers this summer. Yeah. Let me ask you a question, though. More Thomas Frank than Kudus, or the other way around? Just out of curiosity, man. Because I happen to agree with you. But I think it's actually Thomas Frank. Understanding how to play this team correctly, which was something that Ange Postecoglou just could not get right. No disrespect to Ange. Wayne Bonner says, Trafford has been dodgy. We need to pressure the hell out of them every chance we get. Yeah, and especially on goal kicks, right on the restart, we saw exactly how we were going to play that, which is just unbelievable pressure. And again, I go back to, Pap Sarr. Pap Sarr was the one that stepped up and was able to create that turnover in their own box. And Polina was able to finish on that one. And that's exactly the way that this team wants to play. And this is what we've seen consistently now from the preseason, to the regular Premier League season, is that there's just been nothing but good pressure. And we are in a habit of making the ball carrier make mistakes. And that's what I love to see the most. So hopefully this will continue, because the way that Thomas Frank has us playing so far, we're going to end up getting 3 points. And I've said it 1,000 times, the way that the schedule is set up until we hit November 1st, the schedule is light. And if we can get past City today, the only teams that are remaining that somewhat can give you a scare are going to be Brighton, maybe Aston Villa. But if we can come away with 3 today, then we have Bournemouth coming up next on the schedule. And I got to be honest with you, Bournemouth doesn't necessarily scare me. I do not. I don't take them lightly, but that being said, they do not scare me. Let's see. And Trafford was lucky not to get sent off. Oh, without a doubt, because that ball, his leg, that high leg kick on Kudus right there was absolutely unnecessary. And I'll even go a step further. Right, the missed call against Reinders, who literally stepped on Pedro Porro's foot right outside the box. That should have been a free kick. 100%. Let's go ahead and get to the stats today. As here in the first half, when it comes to possession, Manchester City leads 58-42. Spurs are down in the XG 1.12 to 0.60. But that being said, Spurs have a 2-0 lead. Total shots 5-4 for City. Shots on target are even. Big chances are even. Accurate passes, City 203. Spurs 149. Fouls committed, Spurs 6, City 3. And City leads the corner battle 2-1. When we look at shots on target, again, 2-2. And shots inside the box, which is a good indicator of exactly what both of these teams are trying to do. It's going to be 3-3, although shots outside the box, City lead 2-1. So it lets you know that, it's kind of even as far as Spurs defense are allowing and what they're not allowing. When we look at passes, 242 total to Spurs 181. Passes in the own half, it's pretty close. City 113, Spurs 110. Passes in the opposition half, that's where it gets a little bit different. City 90, Spurs 39. So it lets you know that based on possession, obviously, City has been in our half a little bit longer. But that being said, touches in the opposition box, 13-13. So that's in my estimation, it just lets you know that Spurs are still able to get forward, and they're doing a very good job. As far as the defense is concerned, Spurs lead City in tackles 8-6. They also hold the interception lead 5-2, and Spurs have 12 clearances to City's 7. Duels, City leads 22-18. They also lead ground duels 19-17. Lead the aerial duels 3-1. And we also lead the successful dribbles 4-3. So from that end, when I think of what City was definitely trying to do, yes, they held possession, and I was thinking to myself this entire morning, especially when I was on the pre-match build-up on the Irish Hotspur, and especially last night on Spurs Diehards TTID, I said, Manchester City is going to control the possession without a doubt. There was no way in my mind that I felt like Spurs were going to do the bulk of have the bulk of the possession. But that being said, it's what is Manchester City going to do with that possession? And so far in the first half, not much. And the way that City is designed is to utilize the central part of the pitch. That's why they got Tajari Reinders, right? To be that focal point as they were pressing forward on the counterattack centrally. And that's why this morning, when I was highlighting the players that I wanted to watch today, it was going to be João Palhinha and Rodrigo Betancourt in that double pivot to make sure that that central area right outside our 18-yard box is going to be clear, and making sure those balls stay on the wing. And that's what's actually transpired here in that first half. City have not been able to use those quick passes centrally to try to get Haaland free or try to get Reinders free. That has not happened to a point where there's been a lot of turnovers for Spurs in that area, and balls get played forward either to the right or the left. So I think they've done a very good job of executing their defensive game plan. And the thing that has been so very great is the high pressing. And I would probably assume Thomas Frank is going to continue to do that because, again, there hasn't been a lot of space for Manchester City to exploit. Trying to get forward has been a little uncomfortable. So I would probably assume that we're going to see more of that as the second half is ready to begin. I just want to let everybody know to make sure they hit that like and subscribe buttons, because we are on a race to 1K subs. And of course, over the course of the last couple of months, this channel has actually grown exponentially as far as subs. So I'd love to see that to continue to grow as the American Hotspur continues to be ingrained in the Spurs YouTube space. So I do want to thank those that have already subbed and encourage you guys to hit those sub buttons as well too. So it looks like we're about ready to start this second half. And there's Thomas Frank as the players are back on, and Spurs now will go from left to right, and City will be at their home end for the second half, and they will control possession here as play has started. And it looks like neither team has made any changes at the half, although they did lose at Nori early in the first half, and Nathan Aki had to come on. But outside of that, there's been no changes. As Spurs again are doing a good job. And there's a turnover right there. Again, another good press right there. As that ball gets deflected out, and it'll be a Spurs throw-in. Again, just waves of pressure. As that ball, they're going to try to go forward. That ball gets headed out. So Spurs will retry this one. And it looks like it's going to be Jed Spence. And that's Jed Spence who breaks free. Here's Spence now. And Spence has nowhere to go with this. Nice play right there as his pocket was picked. Spence had some space right there, but there was nobody in the box. And Manchester City now will try to reset. Look at Brendan Johnson. Hapsar and Brendan Johnson are doing a good job on that left-hand side right there. As Spurs will take possession. And it's Kudus against Bob. Bob wins that battle. Here comes City. And it's Oscar Bob. I love saying that name. That's a nice ball in. Ooh, good deflection right there. Good deflection. That was João Palhinha who closed down space. That was good ball movement by City right there to try to find some open space in the box. They did, but Palhinha shut that shit down quick. As City will hold possession. That's going to be Bob on the right hand side. 1v2. Oh, nice. Ooh, and Spurs try to counter quick. Too heavy of a touch, and City will keep it deep. Here's Marmouche against Pedro Porro. There it is right there. Unbelievable. Unbelievable defense right there in the corner. Closing down Marmouche. But City will retain possession now. Spurs are doing a pretty goddamn good job defensively. Here's Oscar Bob. Cuts into the box. Ooh, taken away right there. As Richarlison was trying to get on the ball. As that ball is going to get played out, it'll be a Spurs throw-in. There's John Stones. And through the first 3 minutes here in the second half, Manchester City have kept possession, which I think we all probably saw coming. But that being said, man, good defense by Spurs. But here comes City trying to get forward. Spurs close down on the ball pretty well. Come on now, press the ball. Press the ball. There you go. Don't let him walk the ball forward. Richarlison. Here's Trafford. And Trafford's going to have to play this one forward. And that goes all the way forward as Vicario is there. I love seeing the traveling supporters. Absolutely happy. And this is exactly what we absolutely needed, especially after the fiasco this week when it came to Eberechi Eze. This is exactly the type of result Spurs absolutely needed if they can hold on here, just to quiet everything down a little bit. And here comes City now. And that's going to bounce off, and it looks like it's going to be Reinders who's going to play it forward. It's Bob. 1v1. And look at Jed Spence clearing it out. Spurs defense has just been brilliant today. City just can't do what they want. Quick touch passing, forward runs. They just can't seem to. They can't seem to figure out this. They can't seem to figure out the riddle. Ooh, that ball was played in, and now it's going to be cleared. I heard a bit of Levy out in the first half, but it didn't seem to be that loud yet. Like, that's the thing. It's like when you're essentially controlling the match on the road at the Etihad, it's kind of hard to get into those, Levy out chants, especially when you've done everything you wanted to accomplish, everything that you wanted to accomplish in that first half. It's incredibly hard to get those Levy out chants going. I understand the frustration, but now is not the time and place to have those chants. You want to celebrate the goal scorers, and it looks like City are going to make a change, and it looks like it's going to be Doku. There's the ball. It's going to be turned over. And there's a whistle. Unbelievable, man. Manchester City gets a turnover in Spurs box. And it was Holland. Oh, and it looks like Cherokee will get whistled for the foul right there on Polinia. Here comes Spurs trying to play one up the left-hand side. It's Spence. 1v1. Spence in the box, cuts, lays it off. There's a ball that's going to get played in, headed forward. There's Trafford. There's Trafford. And now there's a little bit of a brouhaha with Richarlison. Oh boy. Wow. Spurs dodged a bullet, another one. And there's going to be a double switch for Manchester City. It looks like Bernardo Silva is coming on. And it looks like Jeremy Doku is coming on for Marmouche. This is going to be interesting. So Cherokee comes off. Bernardo comes on. We're in the 54th minute, so Pep Guardiola, not wasting any more time, has seen enough. They're going to try to play quickly down that left-hand side to Doku, but there was Pedro Porro. And now City will try to play it quickly again. As they're moving down the right-hand side. Here's Bob, tries to cut in, taken away. Here comes Spurs now on the counter. That ball is going to get played down the right-hand side. Here's Kudus. And that ball is going to get tapped. As it was Nathan Aki. It's kept in. Right there by Polinia. Good play by Polinia. as it gets played back to Vicario. That's a nice little pass by Vicario. Here's Van de Ven. It's Jed Spence. Spence runs into trouble. Now Manchester City are pressing. Oh, that's a good pass right there. Oh, way to keep it. By Polina. Here comes Spurs now. It's going to be Mohamed Kudus. There's a ball in. Back post. Oh. And it was Richarlison. As we see this again, nice ball in by Pedro Porro. And I think it was just a little under. As actually it does find Richarlison's head, but it actually goes into the neck of Nico right there. Yes, Manchester City will now have possession here. Good little run right there by Spurs. Ooh. As Pedro was able to get in a nice cross. Now it comes back to City. That was a nice little play right there. Here comes Spurs now on the counter. Ooh, nice little shot there by Brendan as he cut in on his right foot, but puts one over the crossbar right there. And Thomas Frank is not happy. Ooh. As he played one on to Brendan Johnson, who cut in, tried to get one on target there. Frank necessarily wasn't happy with that one. As that ball is going to get played long. Here's Romero. That ball is going to be bounced down to Mohamed Kudus now. He's going to try to turn. Oh, nice little flick onto himself. Oh! As Kudus in traffic now. It looks like it's Jed Spence on the left-hand side. Papsar. That ball gets played back to Van de Ven, who's got to play it on to Romero. Here's Pedro Porro now on the right-hand side. There's nobody there. Oh, nice little flick onto Pedro. That ball's taken away, though. Oh, here's Richarlison. That's going to get played all the way to Brendan Johnson. In the box. Brendan. Oh, that ball's deflected. That ball has to get played back. It's Van de Ven. It's Romero. Good, absolute good passing right here by Spurs. They have done a very good job of finding space. Here's Kudus. Kudus. And he was absolutely, he hit the deck right there by Rico Lewis. As we look at this one again, because it looked like Kudus got absolutely hammered right there. As we're approaching the 60th minute, 30 minutes to play. There's Kudus right there. And there's going to be I think there's a whistle. I think this is going against Manchester City. It will. So Spurs will have a free kick. Deep in City's half. Can Spurs capitalize? They have played excellent football through 60 minutes. Spurs lead 2-0. Can Spurs pick up their third? Oh, boy, that would be excellent to close this one out. Get the dagger here in the 60th minute. Close this one out. Here's Porro. There's the whistle. Here's the ball in. Back post. And it goes over. And I think that went off of Richarlison. Yeah. Ooh, actually, I think that might have went off of Aki. They'll say City goal kick. As Richarlison. Look at Van de Ven. Oh, and that's exactly what you want right there. Good pressure as that ball, they had nowhere to go. And it looks like Trafford, under duress, plays that one out. So it'll be a Spurs throw in high in City territory. Excellent pressing by Spurs. And it's been waves all afternoon. And it'll be Mohamed Kudus. Looks like with the throw in here. Here's Kudus. Plays it back to Porro. Here's Kudus. Plays one in. Back post. Oh. And it was Richarlison again. Richarlison has had himself a hell of a game today. Defensively in the press has been great. Getting forward. Getting his head onto the ball. And it's Vicario now. As looks like Erling Haaland. Oof. Audio Artisan checks in. He says he likes Frank ball. Why does everything have to be described as insert coach ball? You know, last year it was Ange ball. Before that, it was Conte ball. Now it's Frank ball. Here comes City. I actually enjoy it too. Here comes City now, trying to get around the corner. And that's going to get out. I think that's going to be a Spurs goal kick as Doku couldn't find the handle right there as he was trying to get past Pedro Porro right there. No dice. And City fans look absolutely dejected right now. And it looks like Phil Foden is warming up. And it looks like Rodri is also warming up for City. It's just what kids do these days. I know kids think they're so cool with their terminology and their hip shoes. So this will be a goal kick for Spurs, and it looks like Vicario is going to play this long. That's going to get headed forward. And I think Richarlison, they're going to say offsides. Yeah. With their cool hairdos and their hip shoes. These damn nabbit kids. As now City is going to try to play this one. I've been so impressed with the way Spurs have managed their press. And there's another turnover. It's just been beautiful to watch, man. They have literally taken Manchester City out of their game. And you can see Pep's frustration. They just can't get anything. They can't find any rhythm going forward. Spurs backline has been rock solid. There's Porro just picked Doku's back pocket. That ball's going to get deflected again. City just cannot string together two passes. As that ball's trying to play up the right-hand side, trying to find Kudus. And Manchester City will try again. We are approaching minute 65. 25 minutes remaining as that ball's trying to play forward to Bob, just way too far forward. And now Spurs will try to counter. Here's Jed Spence. He's got to play this one back, and it's going to be Van de Ven. Yeah, like this has been a total team performance. I 100% agree with you. It's just impressive to watch because, obviously City has the talent. But, when this team is literally pressing together as a team and not allowing their talent to do anything on the ball, it's just been such an impressive performance. Here's Bob trying to get around the corner as that ball gets out, and I think that's going to be looks like that's going to be a goal kick right there. So again, City has been forced to the wings, and Jed Spence has been an absolute rock on that left side. Pedro Porro's played well today too. Like, I don't want to take anything away from Porro, but credit to Spurs, man. They've done a really good job. So it looks like Dominic Solanke and Wilson Odepair look like they're about to check in. As that ball is going to get turned over. Here's nice passing right here. Oh, look at that by Mohamed Kudus, who picks his back pocket. That's Polinia. And that ball is going to get played out as Brendan Johnson was offside. So we're in the 66th minute now. And it was just the hustle by Mohamed Kudus right there, denying the corner. That left-sided corner right there. And here's Richarlison. That ball gets played forward. Richie is on it. And that ball gets deflected right back to Trafford. And Manchester City will try to start again as there's the pressure again. And Trafford will play it off to the left-hand side. Spurs have been absolutely fantastic today. As Trafford will hold on to this. Now that's going to get played a little bit more centrally. And City will hold possession now. Now that's a nice ball through. As they're going to try to play this one onto Bob. Tries to get around the corner. Look at that. Oh, unbelievable. Good defense right there by Christian Romero. And now he's going to get a yellow card. That was a great tackle. That was an unbelievable tackle right there. And he got all ball. He didn't even trip Bob. He gets a yellow card. That was a terrible call by the ref right there. Romero didn't even touch him, didn't even trip him. So now this will be a free kick now. It's going to be Bernardo Silva. Unreal. Let's see exactly how Spurs defend this free kick here. In an advantageous position right here. Unbelievable. There's the ball. It's going to get whipped in. Back post. It goes all the way through. And I think this is going to get out. For a City corner. And it's going to be Reinders. As we approach the 70th minute now, that ball is going to get played short. That's going to take a deflection. So I think we're going to do this corner one more time. As City is trying to play quick. As they went short on that corner. Here's Reinders again. To the back post. Tipped out. And that ball gets put into orbit right there. As this will be a Spurs goal kick. That was an absolutely brutal call. As now there's a brouhaha between Richarlison And it looks like Bernardo. But looks like we're going to hit the replay here, the reset. And there's going to be a yellow for both Richarlison and Nico. Interesting. As play is about to resume here. Unbelievable officiating at this point. It's been horrible. As that ball pops up. Look at Polinia. That ball drops. And it'll go to Manchester City here. Oh, nice defense right there by Rodrigo Betancourt. As City will have the throw in here. I would probably assume within the next couple minutes we're going to see Dominic Solanke and Wilson Odobert check in for Spurs, as that ball is going to get played deep, headed forward. As City will hold possession here. As John Stones, that ball gets pressured. Here comes Doku. Now he's got to play this one off. That's a nice ball forward by Stones, but taken away. Spurs now will try to counter. Here's Richarlison. He's going to play this one forward. Here comes Brendan Johnson. Johnson, 1v1 against Stones. And that has to go all the way back to Van de Ven. And that plays back to Vicario. Audio Artisan says, Richie better come off before they make him lose his head. Yeah, but I kind of enjoy a pissed off Richie as that ball gets played off to the right-hand side. Pedro Porro does a nice job by keeping it in. Here's Betancourt. Passes it forward. There's Pedro Porro. Runs right by his man. Now he's trying to play it forward. Oh! Looks like that was Papsar. That was on the run right there. Spurs will take possession here. That was nearly a flawless ball forward right there from Pedro Porro. Yeah, that's a whistle, 100%. That's a whistle against Bob right there. As we're now pushing minute 75, Spurs are still holding on to a 2-0 lead. Yeah, as Oscar Bob gets the whistle against a trip against Brendan Johnson. But there's that play again by Pedro Porro, and it looked like Sarr was onside right there. He just didn't time his jump correct, as the ball just goes right over his head. Had that one connected, man, that's 3-0 right there. And it looks like City will make their final two substitutions. It's going to be Phil Foden coming on and Rodrigo checking in. As that ball gets out. And here they come. As Phil Foden will check in. As Oscar Bob will come off. And it looks like Nico is going to come off for Rodri. Good to see Rodri back. So Manchester City has used all their substitutes now with 15 minutes left to play plus stoppage time. Spurs lead by 2. And we will see what Thomas Frank is going to counter with. There's Doku down the left-hand side. Tries to play it forward. As that ball will get out. Good play right there by Christian Romero. Not allowing that runner to the post. So this will get out for a corner. It's going to be Foden. Foden's trying to play this one quick. Let's see what Spurs can do defensively. There's the ball. It's going to get whipped in. Headed on right there is Vicario. And it was Rodri who got on the end of that one. Unmarked, by the way, but right there, right at Vicario. Now Spurs will try to play this one forward. Just a bad touch, and Trafford's going to have to play this one out. This will be a Spurs throw-in. So Manchester City have used all their subs. And it looks like Spurs will make their two. In the 76th minute. And it'll be Wilson Odobert. Looks like for Brendan Johnson, who scored Spurs' first goal of the night on a very good finish. So Wilson Odobert now checks in on the left-hand side. Solid. I guess you can say it was a solid performance today from Johnson. And coming off is Richarlison. And coming on now will be Dominic Solanke. It's good to see Odobert on the pitch. I like Odobert. And here comes Dominic Solanke. So we'll see how this plays out now. 13 minutes left. That ball gets played in. As Pedro Porro gets tangled up with Phil Foden. As City we'll have the free kick here. Good pressure. Again, good pressure by Spurs. That ball's tapped away. Oh, are you kidding me? Here comes Doku, 1v1 down the left-hand side. Tries to cut in. Doku. Oh, good defense from Spurs. It was Mikey van de Ven closing things up. Here comes Kudus. And now Pedro Porro is going to try to put one on just over the head, and Trafford's going to have to sky this one. And that gets out. Spurs will have throw-in on the right-hand side. Good defense right there by Mikey van de Ven. That was an unbelievable tackle right there by Van de Ven. Stopping Phil Foden. It was a good little pass right there by Doku, too. But it was Van de Ven. Gutsy slide tackle right there. And now it looks like Foden is limping. Unbelievable. And now it looks like City are trying to get numbers forward. As we are pushing to the 80th minute now. Can Spurs find that final dagger? Fleeing into a 2-goal lead. Goals by Brendan Johnson and João Palhinha. That ball gets thrown into the box. Headed away. That's Erling Haaland. Ooh. As that ball's going to stay with Spurs as Tajiri Reinders hits the deck. But Rodrigo Betancourt, that was a nice play right there. As Spurs will have the throw-in. There's a yellow card against Pedro Porro. For what exactly, I have no idea. But all right, as here's the restart. As Porro will try to head one away. Manchester City now will have possession. That's Solanke pressuring Trafford. He's got to play one forward. There's Van de Ven. As the ball comes down, here comes Spurs now on the counter. Nice move right there by Wilson Odobert. He gets free. Odobert. And he's got to play this one. That gets played out. So it'll be a Spurs throw-in. Nice heads-up player by Odobert. 9 minutes remaining. Spurs leading 2-0. Looking for number 3. They have certainly came to the Etihad absolutely fearless. Nice move right there by Kudus, who's just going to put one on. It was like a little bit of a Hail Mary right there, but nice movement by Kudus. So Manchester City now will start quick. Looks like it's Aki. Here's Doku. And Doku tries to get past Porro. That ball gets out. So it'll be a Spurs throw-in. They certainly have done a very good job, Spurs, of keeping Manchester City in check for a good portion of this match. As that ball goes to the right. Looks like it's Foden. As they're going to try to work this one centrally. Here's Doku on the left-hand side. Look at Kudus trying to play that one back. That ball goes to the... Ooh! That go into the far post right there, and Bernardo put one on. Looks like that one went over. As Bernardo was unmarked on the back post. And it's going to be a Spurs goal kick. Oh, that's a good ball forward, but nobody was there. That's Trafford now. The Spurs are putting good pressure on the ball. As there's just nowhere to go. That ball's going to get played all the way to the left. It's Doku. And it's going to be Doku and Porro. Excuse me, Kudus and Porro against Doku. They did a very good job. Here's Porro now. Van de Ven plays it back to Vicario. Vicario is going to try to play this one up the left-hand side. That's going to get headed back in. And it's City trying to do something. That ball is going to get deflected right into the arms of Vicario as Phil Foden tried to put one on. Good deflection, good save for Vicario. As we are now approaching the 85th minute, and Vicario is going to play this one long. And City has played it around to the left-hand side. Good ball movement by City. Here's Doku now. In the box, trying to get around the corner. That ball's going to get deflected and out. Good play by Pedro Porro, as Doku had no room on that left-hand side. So it'll be Foden again. Spurs will make another substitution as Mohamed Kudus comes out and Lucas Bergvall will come in with 4.5 minutes left to play, as Kudus himself has played another very good game for Spurs today. Didn't get on the score sheet, but that being said, he was everywhere. So here comes Bergvall. That gives Spurs time to reset real quick. Here's the ball. It's going to get whipped in. Deflected. Here comes Spurs now on the counter. As Pedro Porro plays one forward. Here's Bergvall. Bergvall down the right-hand side. Beats his man. Bergvall's in the box. Plays it forward. Shoots! Ooh, and that was Odegaard. Good movement by Bergvall, who played a perfect ball in. That was a nice little flick up to himself, and he played one in perfectly. And it was Odegaard who put it wide right. Because now all of a sudden, here comes City now. Ball intended for Haaland, but he takes him far wide. Now here comes Spurs as they take that ball away. And now there's going to be a whistle. Yes, City will start quick. They're going to try to play this one centrally. And there's a whistle. I think that's going to stay with Manchester City. Looks like Bergvall got kneed in the nuts. He definitely took a leg to the balls. And this will be a free kick for Foden. From about 25 yards out, we're pushing the 88th minute now. 2.5 minutes remain until stoppage. Spurs lead by 2. Look at Bergvall. Foden tried to play one short. And there's a whistle. That's going to go against Rodri. So Spurs will have possession. Good heads-up play by Bergvall, as Foden was trying to play that short. We are inching very close now to the 90th minute. It looks like some City supporters are starting to leave the Etihad. As Ben Davis and Archie Gray look up to be warming up on the sidelines. I don't know if they're going to get in. But the Spurs faithful are going bananas at the Etihad, as their 2 goals look like they're holding up now. There's Van de Ven holding it in. City will have possession here. Oh, good play right there. That was Solanke. That ball goes to Doku. Miyazaki. Down to Doku. 1v1. Left touch line. As we are approaching the 90th minute now. Off the right-hand side. That ball's going to get played in. Headed away by Bergvall. That'll be a throw-in. As we are in the 90th minute now. 4 minutes of stoppage time. And it looks like João Polinia's day is done, as Kevin Danso looks like he's coming onto the dance floor. What an absolute performance by João Polinia, who gets the second goal today. It was unbelievable, man. Good performance by Polinia. As we're approaching the 91st minute. 4 minutes of stoppage time now. Can Spurs hold it? Can they hold on here? As City's going to try to play this one up the right-hand side. Jed Spence doing a very good job. That ball's going to get played in. That's going to get tipped away. Doku's going to try to hold this one up, and he does. To the back post. Headed backwards. Oh, nice deflection right here. Here comes Jed Spence now. As Spence has acres of space here. Spence. He's going to play this one forward. And it's Papsar who's got to play it back now. Here's Bergvall. Now it's going to be Danso down on the right-hand side. It looks like Spurs are just playing keep away here. And here's Vicario now. He plays this one forward. Oh, now here comes Solanke as that ball gets deflected. It's Solanke. Here comes Dominic. Solanke cuts, shoots. Ooh. Oh, headed back. Oh. Good piece of save right there by Trafford on Solanke as that ball gets redirected by Trafford to Wilson Odobert, and Odobert just missed it. He actually had an open side of the net there, off the left-hand side. But great save by Trafford on Solanke, and Wilson Odobert. As we are approaching the 93rd minute, as Pedro Porro now will take the corner. And that ball's going to get whipped in. Oh, taken away right there. And Spurs will hold possession. Off to the right-hand side. It's Pedro Porro. Porro's going to play one in. And that's going to get redirected. And there's a whistle. There's the restart. Sense of urgency for City. Here's Doku down the left-hand side as we're approaching the 94th minute now. City have just run out of time. Trying to play it in. Looks like it's Foden. Foden trying to get on something. That ball's headed away. This might be it for City. Whipped in, headed away. Last chance as that ball gets deflected out of bounds. As we were just waiting for the final whistle here. That's taken away. And that ball's just going to get booted up. And there it is. Tottenham Hotspur go to the Etihad and walk away with all 3 points. 2-0 is your final. Goals by Brendan Johnson and João Polinia. Unbelievable victory today for your Tottenham Hotspur. as they march up to the Etihad and get all 3 points against what I would consider a very good City team. But that being said, for the second straight year, Spurs beat City at the Etihad. But more importantly, it was a clean sheet. As we get to some of the chat real quick, let's see. We're going to go actually with Wayne Bonner, who says, "I don't care his age or the price. We got to get Polina on a permanent deal." Yeah. I think João Polina, me personally, he's probably my man of the match today. I thought he had just had a superb performance all the way around. But that being said, we're going to get into that pretty soon. Audio Artisan says, Sar got the man of the match on TNT Sports. I might have gone with Porro. By the way, Porro had a pretty good game today as well, too. Wayne says, both Sar and Porro were support. Great team performance all the way around, without a doubt. Let's see. Can you guess? Can you guess who's top of the league? I know, right? Come on, you Spurs. All right. So let's get into it. Because this was just absolutely superb performance by Tottenham Hotspur. Obviously, the focal point was slowing down Manchester City in every single way possible, and especially when you saw exactly how they wanted to attack. They did it well against Wolves, but that being said, it's all contingent on whether or not they're able to move the ball through central areas. And today, that just was not there. They were essentially put on the wings, where it gives Spurs a better opportunity to defend. And they did a superb job today. As the guys are down there in the supporter section, that's just an unbelievable view right there as the supporters are there cheering on the team. But that being said, they were able to work their game plan today, and they did it to perfection. Not only was Manchester City not able to play their brand of ball, but Spurs executed theirs to perfection, just essentially hitting the ball carrier with waves after waves after waves of press, to the point where they just could not set up. And this was not just a first half thing. This was a 90-minute thing. And I think that when you look at the way this team is being set up, they are so good. That back four is rock solid. Not only are they compact, they're well organized, and their movement off the ball just does not allow especially today, did not allow City the ability to set up. As soon as a ball was played in, there was somebody that was right there in the face of the ball carrier, meaning that Manchester City had to make 50-50 decisions on where to go with the ball. And generally speaking, there was a turnover that led to it, right? But that being said, when Spurs did get forward, man, it was pick your poison, and it started off with that first goal as Mohamed Kudus was able to get that header forward, and it sprang Richarlison free, and Richarlison had nothing but space, and he was able to find a drifting Brennan Johnson, who was in the box, who finishes. Unbelievable goal. And of course, that was initially whistled offsides. After the VAR, obviously the goal stands. And from that moment, all the momentum was with Spurs. And then, of course, right before the half, Spurs did another very good job of pressing City as they were trying to build out of the back. And of course, it was Papsar who gets the turnover. It winds up on the foot of João Polina. And then after a shot, it gets deflected in the back of the net, and all of a sudden it's 2-0. As they go into the half, Manchester City was not able to build anything, even when they went to their bench. And by the way, they have an unbelievable deep bench, far better than anything that Spurs can do. And again, it was just that organized defense that just did not allow them to set up. They were not allowed to get on the front foot, so to speak. And it's not about how much possession that you have. It's about what you do with that possession. And today it was more backwards passes than it was forward passes. They tried to get numbers forward. But again, Jed Spence on the left, Pedro Porro on the right, shut it down. And that's exactly what you want. And so now all of a sudden, the first massive test of the season for Spurs, we pass with flying colors. And now all of a sudden we get 6 points. And now we head into Bournemouth, a team that we should be able to handle as well, too. So all around a great performance today. And this is something that we're not used to seeing, because last year it was built on individual performances, but as far as team unity, team defense, team pressing, it just wasn't there. And now, we see exactly what Thomas Frank is able to do with the talent that's at his disposal. And the first thing we do is, now all of a sudden we're just rock solid defensively. And yet, it's just unbelievably impressive. And by the way, Manchester City, in their last 13 Premier League matches against Tottenham, only 4 wins, a total of 4, 2-7. So again, this was an opportunity for Spurs to go up there and get 3. They get them, and again, we continue to be that bogey team against Manchester City. And for the second straight year, we walk out of the Etihad with 3 points. But that being said, this absolutely has to be a thrilling moment for Spurs, a massive test against one of the better teams in the Premier League. And not only do we get the 3 points, but it's a clean sheet as well, too. And so from that standpoint, I look at this and I'm like, okay, we're off to the races. Because when you look at the schedule, what's left? What other challenges out there are there that actually put the fear of God into this team, right? Is it Brighton? I don't think so. Is it Villa? We're actually pretty good at Villa Park as well, too. So the way that I look at this, man, it's like until we actually hit that November, if we can bank points in this first 2 months of the season, we're going to be able to weather the storm, 100%. And when I look at that schedule, there's a good possibility that we can pull 18 points from these next 7-8 matches. So there's a very good chance that we enter November in first place atop the table before we actually get to the Liverpools of the world and the Arsenals of the world. So that being said, man, this is what I wanted to see. This is exactly what I expected. Now, granted, I did say 2-2 tie, but that because I just thought that Manchester City had the wherewithal to put the ball back in the net. But that being said, that's what I get for underestimating Thomas Frank and this in this defense. It's been a long time since I've seen Spurs this rock solid on the defensive side of the ball, and especially in the counter press as well too. It's just unbelievable. So let's go ahead and take a look at the stats today. The final stats, and again, I was kind of right by this one. Total possession, Manchester City 61%, Spurs 39%. I figured they were going to carry the majority of the possession, and yeah, it exactly played out that way. But again, it's not what you do with it's not about possession. It's what you do with it. And Spurs were able just to negate everything that City was expecting to do. By the way, XG, they won the XG battle as well too. City 1.51, Spurs 1.02. Total shots, Spurs 12, City 10. Shots on target, 5-4 Spurs. Accurate passes, City 434, Spurs 252. Fouls committed, Spurs 12, City 7, and of course, City won the corner battle 7-2. As we dive into some of these shots, shots off target, Spurs 5, City 3. Shots on target, 5-4 Spurs. Let's see, block shots, City 3, Spurs 2. Shots inside the box, 10 for Spurs. City was 6. So you can see exactly the differential between where Spurs were taking their shots versus where City were taking their shots. And of course, City outside the box 4-2. As we look at the passing numbers, City finished with 503 total passes to Spurs 342. Passes in their own half, City 232. Spurs 169. Passes in the opposition half, City again 202. Spurs 83. Let's see. Touches in the opposition box, City 33. Spurs 26. Defensively, Spurs won the tackle battle 16-10. They also led the interception battle 7-6. And of course, they had more clearances, 26-22. Defensively, the battle was only by a margin of 5, as City had 50, Spurs had 45. Ground duels 39-37. Aerial duels 11-8 to City, and of course, successful dribbles were 7-7. But that being said, when I look at this, the better team won. Yeah, the better team won today. Understand that. Spurs were by a large margin the better team, without a doubt. And the way that they executed this one, there was no doubt in my mind that Spurs were the better team today. Yes, City has the talent, but what does that mean at the end of the match, right? It doesn't mean jack. Spurs were the better team today. They executed better. They took advantage of their opportunities better, and because of it, they were rewarded. Fair, plain and simple. Let's see. Wade Bonner says there was only one team in that game, and it wasn't the home team. Exactly. That's exactly right. And when I think about this, in a whole, this was in a vacuum, right? This was such a massive win for Spurs because this was in the first portion of the schedule. This was the test because they're not going to get another one until they get Liverpool in November. But this was the test. This is to let them know that they're on the right track. This was the match. And not only do they pass it, they pass it with flying colors. They keep a clean sheet at the Etihad. They shut down that machine that is Manchester City. Erling Haaland was a non-factor today. Outside of his header there to close out the first half, he was never really in a position to do much damage. That goes to show you that movement between Van de Ven and Romero, taking him out of the match. And again, right, João Palhinha against Tajari Reinders took him out of the match. Reinders is an excellent player. They couldn't get anything going. And I said this at the top of the match, right? The two biggest players was going to be that double pivot of Palhinha and Betancourt. And sure enough, right, there was absolutely no execution in the central part of that pitch as they were moving forward. So Spurs did an excellent job of keeping that team on the wings and relying on their 1v1 defenders on the outside. They did an unbelievable job today. Unbelievable job. So curious to know what your guys' man of the match, and it looks like Audio Artisan has Pap Sarr. Wayne Botter says both Sarr and Porro were superb. I think for me, I actually my man of the match goes to João Palhinha. Not only was he just brilliant defensively, but he also gets the goal as well too. It's nice to see that hard work pay off. So from my standpoint, I think João gets the my man of the match today. Again, the superb defending against Tajari Reinders, man. Just essentially man marking dude off the pitch was just unbelievable. But that being said, if I could give a total team man of the match, I probably would. But since we have to pick one, I'm definitely going with João Palhinha. But that being said, before we go, let's go ahead and take a look around the Premier League. Let's go ahead and take a look real quick. All right. So yesterday, let's start with yesterday as Chelsea absolutely handled West Ham 5-1. Goals by Pedro, Neto, Enzo Fernandez, Moises Caicedo, and Chalobah. And the only thing that West Ham was able to get on the board was Lucas Paqueta in the 6th minute. And Chelsea absolutely hammers West Ham. And of course, today Tottenham beat Man City. And it looks like going off right now is going to be Villa and Brentford. Also, Bournemouth and Wolves go at 10. Burnley Sunderland goes off today at 10. And later today, Arsenal versus Leeds United. Tomorrow, Crystal Palace plays host to Nottingham Forest. Everton hosts Brighton. Fulham hosts Man United. And Newcastle will host Liverpool. And that is going to be match day 2. So again, unbelievable performance. And let me tell you, man, I'm absolutely buzzing that not only were we able to pick up the 3 points, but we kept a clean sheet. Unbelievable performance from the boys today. And that should quiet down the I guess you could say the lynch mob right there. That's, after Daniel Levy, when you actually have this type of performance after, what happened this week with Eberechi Eze, all that's going to do is just create good vibes heading into the next match day. So, again, wonderful performance. And I'm just thrilled. I'm thrilled with this team and the way that they played. Wayne Bonner says Betancourt, Polina are a great pairing out, without a doubt, man, without a doubt. And they certainly proved that today too. But that being said, it was all about good pairings today too, right? When I think about it, when you look at the fullback pairings between Porro and Jed Spence, they played well. The center back pairings played well today as well. Taking away Erling Haaland, Polina and Betancourt took care of the middle of the pitch, and Manchester City just had nowhere to go. Absolutely had nowhere to go. And then, of course, again, that pairing between Mohamed Kudus and Richarlison also paid dividends in the early portion of the first half as well too. It was Kudus that sprung Richarlison that ended up in the back of the net by Brendan Johnson. So you know what? And it wasn't just necessarily the pairings, but also think about Pap Sarr today. The quiet killer had himself a brilliant game today as well too. So for all the way around, man, this was just a brilliant win. But that's going to do it for me. I want to thank Audio Artisan. I want to thank Wayne Bonner, and I want to thank everybody who tuned into another edition of the Hotspur Watch Along. We will be back against Bournemouth, so I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. For those that are quickly tuning in, Spurs end up winning today 2-0 at the Etihad. Take the 3 points, and now all of a sudden it's looking like the next month and a half are setting up absolutely perfect for this Spurs team, not only to enter November in first place, but also being able to take as many points before they get to the rough portion of their schedule. But that being said, man, you can't help but be impressed with this squad. You can't. I mean, it's just brilliant. All right, so that's going to do it for me. Make sure you hit those like and subscribe buttons, and hopefully, the next time that we see you, maybe we'll have ourselves a new signing. But that being said, I can't wait for the next one. I hope you guys enjoy your weekend. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Make sure you hit those likes and subscribe buttons, guys. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend, because you know what? It's only better from here, right? Spurs get the 3 points. Take care, guys. Give me 1 second.